Hello, everyone. I have an update for you guys on the current status of Adam Fox. For those of you who are unfamiliar, Adam Fox was one of the defendants in the FBI's Governor Gretchen Whitmer Fednapping case. And he was tried at a first trial, then a second trial. He was convicted. And I'd been interviewing him for a documentary I am working on. If you are watching this on the YouTube channel for that documentary film, this is an update on Adam Fox right now. So Adam had been participating in the documentary along with Barry Croft. Those were the only two defendants that were convicted in the retrial after two were completely acquitted and exonerated by a jury at the first trial. So at the controversial second trial, these two men were convicted, and then they began to participate with me on my documentary. And one of the interviews I conducted with Barry Croft was referenced by U.S. Attorney and Prosecutor Nils Kessler. So he was aware of their participation in the documentary and apparently did not like it, enough so that he gave Barry an even harsher sentence than Adam, giving him 20 years, Adam Fox getting 16. But they were both continuing to participate in the documentary, and they had recorded a statement each of them wanted to make to the weaponization subcommittee. And after those statements were recorded and published, immediately Adam and Barry were moved out of Nuevo County, where they had been for the past, I want to say, going on 3 years. Adam and Barry are both currently appealing their convictions, and there are numerous grounds for appeals. So it was shocking to me that they would be moved at any time at all until their appeals completed. But not only were they moved, but they were seemingly fast-tracked into Supermax. Clearly is retaliation for their participation in the documentary, and as an attempt to not only silence them, but potentially remove them altogether from the equation, or possibly prevent them from speaking to their loved ones. So the last time we had talked about this, if you're following my personal channel, my Radix Verum channel, and you're subscribed, you would know that I had recently put out a video addressing this, talking to Brendan Concerta and another journalist, Ken Silva, about this move that was made to these guys. And at that point, we hadn't really heard much from them. Now, I can say I've received some of Barry's belongings. So I'm currently going through stacks and stacks of papers, notes, transcripts, etc. And I'm finding some very interesting things. But we do have an update. So Jeremy Dieter is an unindicted co-conspirator in this case. He was somebody that attended, I think, maybe one of these meetups. And, the FBI hasn't officially charged him, but they've also told him that he could possibly be under investigation just to try to, keep a cloud hovering over him and keep him scared. But he's never done anything wrong, just like all these other guys. But Jeremy Dieter spoke to Adam Fox's mom. And this is what the latest news that we have on Adam. Adam's mom received a letter, finally, just, I believe, today or yesterday, from Adam. That letter is dated February 24th, 2023. So that is, we're now at March 9th, the day this video is being published, March 9th, 2023. That is quite some time, but that's the date of the letter. And Adam basically says, and I'm not going to be reading verbatim, I'm just going to be summarizing what Adam said in that letter. Basically said, "Hey, Mom, I'm sorry I haven't been able to call you. I have been stuck at the SHU in Florence." So this is the Florence Supermax facility. He's been stuck in what is essentially solitary confinement. He says, I'm on a ADX referral to Supermax, shaking my head. They threw me in the hole. Don't know what the heck is going on. I'm being told that I can be held in the SHU for 10 months to a year. I get no commissary, nothing but water to drink. It's horrible. The guards are not nice. And he starts kind of asking himself, like, why did my lawyer lie to me? My lawyer told me I should go to a low max prison. Did I make a mistake trusting him? Why is he being silent right now? Like, why aren't the lawyers saying anything? Why aren't they talking to the media? Why aren't they asking about my safety and Barry's safety? Like, this is kind of concerning here. Adam goes on to indicate that they don't get any writing utensils at the facility. They get rubber pencils only, which makes it very hard to write. It makes writing hard. He says, please don't be upset. I would call you if I can. And this is the heartbreaking part about this. He says, hope someone is doing something out there for Barry. We don't deserve this. Trying to stay strong. Doesn't understand any of this, the way any of this is happening. He indicates that Florence is way worse than Nuevo County, where he had been being held. He asks, please figure something out for me. Adam has been on medication for many years, including what I believe is depression medication. And I believe possibly anxiety medication he's been taking for many years. And he indicated that he hasn't had his medication in a week. Now, that's very dangerous. I'm not sure which exact medications he is on, but from what I understand, he's been on these medications for many years, and you can't just go off them. That's going to cause many problems for you, especially if you're someone who has suffered long-term with things like depression and anxiety. That'll be an issue. And just considering the conditions, it's just all very sad. He went on to say, I love you all and I miss you. I am caged like an animal. And then he said, and this is the saddest part, please, someone do something. Very, very sad. He's kind of questioning God right now. He's questioning a lot of things. And, this facility is like where that Russian war criminal was held, the one that we traded for, what was it, Griner? What they call it, like the Russian angel of death or merchant of death or something, this arms dealer or whatever. He was at this facility before he was traded. This is the kind of person, that gets held at this facility. It's certainly not the place for somebody like Adam, who has, as a nonviolent person, he's never, been in trouble before. Prior to the entrapment here, he had never had any issues. So he is not the kind of person that is designed or built for a facility like this. It is really sad. And it is deeply disturbing. And, another question is, we do not know if he's alive right now or not, because if he is off his medications, if he is, being held in isolation 23 hours a day, being prevented from speaking with people, not allowed access to commissary, that's not good. It's also very confusing too. I mean, it seems like this is because of the documentary that they fast-tracked him. Everyone knows how, if you're familiar with the government and the prison system and how things work, things usually move pretty slowly because it's bureaucracy. Kind of think of like how it is at a DMV. That's usually how things work. So something happened where these guys were fast-tracked. It's not normal is what I'm saying, and it's very clearly about something, cruel and unusual punishment. So we need to know what's going on, but it gives them the ability to kind of keep moving these guys around the country, keeping them in transit at all times, moving around, preventing them from getting their commissary and letting that catch up with them, preventing them from being able to make phone calls or send letters or communicate with anyone in the outside world. We still have not heard from Barry, and that is very sad. So I want to move now to just a thread from Adam's sister, Gabrielle. You can follow her on Twitter. She's a awesome woman. She's such a fighter, man. She, despite the media mischaracterizing her brother and smearing him, she's got no problem just outright defending him because she's right. he's innocent. She says, it's been a rough week as we learned my older brother was sent to one of the most violent prisons located in Florence, Colorado to serve his sentencing. This is a picture, by the way, of Adam and her as a baby. This is her and this is Adam. He's got his arm around her when they were little, and so sweet and so cute. She says, picture this, sending a non-violent person to an incredibly violent, high-security prison where they can throw him in Supermax at any given time for no reason at all. My brother does not have any violent history. He's never even hurt anyone. If you guys want to fully understand how insane this whole thing is, understand that the original FBI agent who wrote the indictment papers, BEAT, his wife so bad, literally took her head and smashed it against a nightstand numerous times. He almost yeeted her. That was after they attended a swingers party. By the way, just if you're wondering the caliber of FBI agent here that we're discussing, one, of course, that can be sexually compromised. That same FBI agent was drunk when he got picked up by the cops in a grocery store parking lot, never got charged with a DUI, though, even though we've all seen the body camera footage. That agent walks freely. He breathes fresh air. He can do as he pleases. He literally did more acts of harm than my brother, who did absolutely zero, and he is a free man. The justice system is absolutely corrupt. I pray every day the truth of Adam's case will be exposed and he can come home. We now fear for his safety and his life. After his first trial that resulted in a hung jury, Adam told me numerous times he felt the government would have him placed in a dangerous prison and have him killed if he was convicted. I pray that does not happen. I wish more than anything that this was just a bad dream, and unfortunately it is not just a bad dream. So that was February 20th that she made that thread. We get the letter from Adam dated just 4 days later, February 24th. Just got that. Adam's mom just got that letter either today or yesterday. And so it's just
this video is brought to you by Trent.
Okay, so I want to go into this video here. Sorry, that was kind of out of nowhere, but this is a channel called Geographics, I think is what the channel's called. But he did a full video about the Supermax Florence facility, and he said that it's basically like the worst prison in the country. And so I want you guys to hear about the conditions there.
Entrepreneurs get a 2-week trial for just $1 by visiting trends.co/geographic.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, Geographics
World's
is the
most
name
secure prisons built
of the channel. And so he's going to talk about Florence. We're not going to listen to this whole thing. I have some timestamps here. But I wanted you guys to kind of see this facility just so you understand where Adam is at. And remember, Barry, we don't know where he's at right now. He's supposed to be in Oklahoma awaiting transit to Terre Haute, Indiana, another Supermax facility similar to the Florence one. Very, very disturbing.
House the worst of the worst offenders. It is home to a veritable rogues gallery of criminals, terrorists, bombers, mob bosses, drug kingpins, spies, and murderers. These men live in solitary confinement in cells that are purposefully designed to prevent prisoners from escaping or causing a disruption. In other words, it's hell on earth. But this place isn't the invention of an author's imagination. It's very real. The USP Florence
Okay, so this is the facility here where Adam is allegedly being held at the shoe at this place. Yeah, and as you heard, this is sort of like where the worst of the worst go, but Adam is not one of those people. So him going here, I want to reiterate, is highly, highly unusual, and it appears to be retaliatory in response to his participation in the documentary.
Max, located near Florence, Colorado, is the United States' federal government's Supermax prison, where they keep inmates who are too violent, too dangerous, or too much of a threat to national security to be kept anywhere else.
And let's just be clear, neither Adam or Barry fit any of those descriptions. Not one. So you're probably asking yourself, why were they sent here then? What's going on? And that's a really good question that we all should be asking ourselves. I think there was a really angry federal prosecutor who was insulted about somebody's participation in a film that he didn't like. I think it has to do with that.
And it is also one of the country's most controversial prisons. While some claim it makes everyone safer, including the prisoners, others have called it a clean version of hell and in violation of the US Constitution's 8th Amendment, barring cruel and unusual punishments. But why was this steel and concrete monolith built? How does it work? And who exactly is sent there?
Yeah, so he's going to go through the early history. I don't think we need to touch on that. I'm going to move forward to
cells in solitary confinement for 22 to 23 hours a day, only being...
Okay, so this is showing you, he's discussing the conditions here, how long they're held in confinement per day, etc.
let out for an hour or two to exercise or for other things that couldn't be done in their cell. This control unit, or super maximum security, later shortened to just Supermax, was considered the harshest confinement conditions allowed under federal law, reserved only for the worst of the worst. However, Norman Carlson petitioned the US government to go even further.
Yeah, this guy sounds like a grade A psychopath.
Permanent lockdown at Marion was a good start, but what the BOP really needed was a purpose-built facility where the Supermax concept could be put into practice more effectively than at Marion. Carlson continued to advocate for this facility even after his retirement in 1987. Finally, as part of the Clinton administration's pledge to be tough on crime, they allocated $60 million to build a dedicated Supermax facility.
And this is where we get it from, so that's really nice, really good to know. Let me see. We could probably go around here.
Here permanently. Guards at Florence operate on a 3-year...
Okay, so they're going in now to some of the details of the facility.
program. For the first year, the prisoner is kept in complete isolation in his cell for...
So this is basically the cell that Adam and Barry can expect to have, maybe even worse than this. But this is basically what it looks like. It's very small, very confined, very cramped, very bare.
23 hours a day, and his meals and anything else he may need is brought to him in his cell and pushed through a slot in the cell door. If the prisoner shows good behavior, he may be let out for longer periods of time, including being allowed to interact with other prisoners. At the end of 3 years, if he hasn't caused additional disruptions, he can be transferred out of Florence to a less restrictive facility to serve out the remainder of his sentence.
Well, yeah, maybe. We'll see.
The cells at Florence are built to prevent a prisoner from doing anything to harm himself or others. Each cell has a bed, stool, and desk made out of poured concrete that melds seamlessly with the floor and walls, making them immovable. The toilet has its own valve on it that can be shut off if the prisoner tries to flood the cell by blocking it up. The cell has a built-in shower that operates on a timer, also to prevent flooding. The sink does not have a tap, just buttons to prevent the prisoner from disassembling the plumbing on it to use as a weapon. Each cell also has a window 4 inches wide and 4 feet long that is designed to prevent a prisoner from knowing exactly where in the facility they're located.
So you're not allowed to know where you are in the facility at any given time. It's to kind of prevent people from plotting escapes or whatever. They don't know where in the facility they're located. But look how tiny that window is. It's like 4 inches wide by maybe like a foot long. It's just not, you're not really getting any vitamin D. You're not getting any sun from that. This is insane.
Hindering any escape planning. As a further security measure, the inmates are rotated into different cells every 3 months. Each cell has a camera monitoring the inmates' activities inside the cell, one of over 1,400 throughout the complex. For 1 hour a day, inmates are taken out of their cells to an exercise pit, which...
This is what, like, this is considered being allowed outside for a little bit, for an hour each day. Could you imagine, guys? It's just unreal.
Looks like an empty concrete swimming pool. It is also designed to prevent prisoners from knowing where they are within the prison, and it is only big enough for a prisoner to walk 10 steps in a straight line or 31 steps in a circle. Their cells can also be fitted with a TV and radio, and they are provided with books or other items that the guards deem safe for them to have. While at Florence, prisoners aren't permitted visitors and usually aren't permitted to have any contact with the outside world, not even through letters or phone calls. Florence...
So this is, that's key there. What he just said, they're prevented from having any contact with the outside world. Phone calls, letters. That was the whole reason they're being sent there, guys. It's not because they're dangerous. It's not because they're a threat to national security or anything like that. That is not the case. It's literally because they were simply telling their side of the story and participating in a documentary, which is First Amendment protected activity. We have freedom of the press. We have freedom of speech, and we are allowed to report on stories. But that's what they're trying to prevent with Adam and Barry. That is literally the only reason they're there.
Has been called escape-proof because of its heavy security. It has over 1,400 remote-controlled steel doors, and motion detectors and cameras are everywhere. In the control center, corrections officers monitor the inmates 24 hours a day. They have a panic button, which can trigger a prison-wide lockdown that shuts every door in the prison if they suspect an escape attempt is in progress. If, by some chance, a prisoner makes it out of the building, they still have to contend with the perimeter featuring pressure pads and a 12-foot-high fence topped with razor wire, as well as regular patrols of armed guards who are trained to shoot to kill rather than allow a dangerous prisoner to escape.
And of course, Adam and Barry are not dangerous, nothing like that. You don't have to worry about that with these guys. It's just like ridiculous, okay? So of course, if I want to speak with them any further, I'm going to have to travel to this facility, and I'm going to have to enter a facility filled with criminals, violent criminals, in order to do so.
Custody. The other 5% of the inmates are permanent residents. Almost all of them have life sentences, meaning they will never leave the Supermax.
This is another thing that makes it really dangerous for them, especially. You have people that are in there serving life sentences, and to take out another prisoner in exchange for some kind of perk or something, some kind of special benefit to them. Why do they care? I mean, they're there for life already, so it wouldn't really make much of a difference to them. If they're going to get something out of it, why not? Yeah, it's not good.
Inmates are truly the worst criminals the government has in their system, and are kept permanently at Florence because of the danger they pose to other inmates or guards, as an additional punishment for the infamy of their crimes they were convicted of, or because the possibility of them escaping would be very harmful to national security.
And Adam and Barry, again, that none of that applies to them.
These prisoners are a who's who of infamous criminals, men whose crimes provoked national and international outrage. One cell block at Florence is known as Bombers Row because of who is housed there. Terry Nichols, convicted of helping build the bomb that Timothy McVeigh used to blow up a federal
PatCon, what a surprise.
building in Oklahoma City in 1995, killing 168 people. Ramzi Youssef, convicted of the 1993 World Trade Center bombing that killed
more FBI involvement there too.
6. Eric Robert Rudolph, a Christian fundamentalist who bombed abortion clinics and gay bars and was also convicted
Probably an FBI informant there.
of detonating a bomb in Centennial Park in Atlanta during the 1996 Summer Olympics. And Ted Kaczynski, known as the Unabomber, who
Literal victim of MK Ultra.
waged a one-man campaign of terror for 17 years. His mail bombs killed 3 and injured 23 others. Other terrorists kept at the Florence Supermax include Al-Qaeda operatives like Zacharias Moussaoui, Richard Reed, the shoe bomber, and Umar Abdulmutallab, the underwear bomber. Joe Kartsanev, who along
Would you look at that? So Jason Chambers from the Whitmer case was one of the FBI agents that investigated the Boston case, which, by the way, should be reinvestigated because Jason Chambers is a corrupt person, and given what he did in the Whitmer case, it stands to reason he did something similar there.
with his brother bombs the finish line of the Boston Marathon in 2013, is currently incarcerated at Florence while awaiting resentencing. If he is resentenced to death for his crimes, he will be moved to the facility at Terre Haute in
So this is where Barry is going, allegedly. We still haven't heard from Barry. We have no idea if he's even still alive right now.
Indiana, where the federal government's death row is located. Another category of prisoner here are leaders of organized crime syndicates. For these men, they are kept here to prevent them from continuing to run their criminal enterprises from behind bars.
So again, this is not an issue with Adam or Barry. They're not the head of any kind of organized anything, except they were involved in an FBI-led plot, so their co-conspirators, so-called, are what? Feds? Like, oh yeah, we can't risk them talking to their network of FBI informants, right? Like, what?
Has been done in the past. Prominence among them is Joaquin Guzman, known as El Chapo, who led Mexico's Sinaloa cartel, one of the country's largest and most violent. Guzman was extradited from Mexico in 2017 and
So there's that. You cannot compare Adam and Barry to El Chapo. It's just ludicrous.
sentenced to life in prison in 2019. You'll find leaders of other criminal gangs in Florence as well, from the Chicago Outfit, the Latin Kings, Aryan Brotherhood, Gangster Disciples, East Coast Bloods, and the Black P. Stones. The final major category of permanent prisoners at Florence are those convicted of espionage, especially US citizens caught passing information to foreign governments.
Okay, so like these FBI agents, they're gonna say this is Robert Hansen, a former FBI agent who was working for the Soviet Union. Just kind of find that ironic and interesting. But anyways, just wanted to let you guys know that that's the latest we've heard so far, and I encourage you guys to please keep Adam and his family in your prayers. Please keep Barry in your prayers as well. And if you feel moved to do so, you can donate to the documentary that we are working on to get the truth about this case out there. This is super important to me. This is if you go to kandkfilm.com or just givesendgo.com/radixverum, it will bring up the fundraiser here. You can watch the trailer for the documentary. You can see we've got a fundraising goal of $150,000 and we have only raised $4,450, which by the way is amazing. Thank you guys so much for that. That is so generous. And I really, to be honest, I didn't know what to expect. But I want to be able to finish this documentary. I owe it to these guys, to their families. I've made promises that I will tell their story. I will get it out there. I'm now the only one that has their stories from prison prior to them being moved to Supermax to shut them down and prevent them from talking to me. But even if you don't donate, even if you just can pray, there's prayers here that matters too. But you can get updates. So you can get an email notification anytime I publish an update to the fundraiser, letting you know the status of the documentary, where we are so far. I plan on publishing another update soon, just letting everybody know what the status of the documentary is now, what I have to do as far as traveling and what I'm going to need for that. Because, yeah, I've still got to go to like 5 or 6 more locations, as I've said. One of them, the next place I want to go to, though, I can get done numerous interviews at once, like 3, 4, maybe even 5 interviews. I can knock them all out at one time in one place. That would be tremendous, a tremendous help. So right now, as it stands, I've not accessed any of the funds yet that we've raised for the documentary. I was waiting until we met more of the fundraising goal, but I will be using it to travel to this next place, and then I'll keep everybody posted. I'll be sharing everything and letting y'all know how this is going. The way that it looks like right now, though, is sort of like a passion project for me. I am unable to work on it full time. Like, I wish I could, but I have to do other things in order to support myself as an independent journalist and make some money. Almost every video I do here is demonetized, so this is what I do for a living. But in thank you to everybody who has signed up to be a monthly supporter. That helps me so much. Just knowing that I can rely on X amount of money each month, it allows me to have the freedom to talk about and cover the things I want to cover without having to worry about being reliant on advertising revenue. I can talk about things that matter. Also, make sure you're following me on alternative platforms. I have my own website, radixverum.com. You'll be able to find all my information there. If I get removed anywhere, you'll know about it. You'll be able to go one place to figure out where to find me next and stuff like that. So what would help me, one of the ways you guys can really help, is to share this video, get it out there, tell your friends, your family about this story, let them know what happened with the FBI here. Contact your local officials if you're able to and try to pressure them. Hey, we should be investigating what the FBI has done in this case, because it is egregious, and right now literally lives are on the line. And it's not just these guys who are currently suffering in Supermax prison, rotting, and literally no one knows where they are, in solitary confinement, being punished by the government, but it's their families as well. It's like very hard and difficult when someone you love, when you know that person is being subjected to something that is wrong and you can't do anything about it to stop it. That's just heartbreaking. So please pray for these guys, their families. Also, we have a separate case that is linked to this case. It's a state case involving 5 guys charged with material support. That case is going to trial, I believe, this summer. They're trying to hide everything, seal all the evidence, prevent the public from getting it right now. A local journalist in Michigan is suing to try to get that information unsealed and out to the public. I may be speaking with one of those guys and his family soon, which is super, super important. But I want everybody to know this is not over yet. Many, many, many people are affected by it, and it's up to us to get the truth out. No one else is going to do it, and I think you all know that. Most people have moved on from this story because it didn't personally affect them. And I need you guys to care. I need you to get upset. Think about how you would feel if something like this was happening to your brother right now. If your brother was in the shoe in Florence and you couldn't talk to him and get a hold of him and you had no idea what was happening to him. Imagine the helplessness that you would feel, and we know Adam said, somebody please do something. Well, I'm doing something, and I hope you guys can do something, like share the video, donate if you can, tell your friends about it, share the trailer for the documentary, spread it on social media, encourage people to talk about it. These are all things that you can do to make sure these guys are safe. Make sure this case continues to be in the spotlight, that it gets brought to the attention of the Weaponization Committee, our elected officials, that they look into this more, because right now I don't know any other way to help these guys. The only thing I can think of is Congress or the Senate getting involved. And so that's where we stand right now. Anyways, I hope you guys have a good day. I will continue to keep you all updated on Adam, on Barry, on the documentary to the best of my ability. And keep me in your prayers, if you don't mind, as well. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.